Hello there, this is the voice of Benjamin Thomas, the Youth Services Librarian here at the Lithgow Public Library, and I'm going to show you how to make our origami pumpkins that we have here. So these are the take and make for our special Halloween event this year in 2022, and they look a little complicated, but really, they're quite easy, and I'll show you how to do it here. So, the first step is going to be to take the orange square of paper that was included in your kit, and you're going to want to just place it on a flat, hard table surface here in front of you. And the first thing that we're going to do with that piece of paper is going to be to rotate it about 45 degrees so that we have our pointy edges pointing at us. So you want to have this edge pointing towards you. Now we're going to, with one hand, we're going to reach over and we're going to take the top edge and we're going to pull it towards ourselves. And we're going to line up these edges and then we're going to flatten it down. Now these don't have to be perfect, but you should try to get them as close as you can. Otherwise, you might have trouble with the folds later on. So once that's perfectly smoothed down, what we're going to do is we're going to take this far edge and we're going to fold it over to our left. So you take the corner that's on the right side and you fold it to the left. And again, you want to try and line these edges up as close as you can, but it doesn't have to be perfect. So once you have that, you'll see that you have a triangle that has two flaps on the left side. What we're going to do is we're going to take both of those flaps and we're going to fold it over onto itself to make an even smaller triangle. And once you have those edges smoothed down nice and good, you're going to open it back up and let it lay flat again. So now here's the complicated step. The next two steps can seem a little hard when you're looking at it on our paper instructions, but once you get it, it's actually fairly easy. So you might notice that there's layers here. You're going to want to just find the very top layer of the paper here and open it up kind of like a pocket, right? So now, with the index finger on one hand, you're going to just pin those bottom three layers to the table and pinch right here in the middle along this crease on the edge with your other hand. And when you do that and pull it down into the left, or rather the right, you'll see that it wants to turn into a square. And it just naturally wants to turn into that square. So you'll pull, I'll show you again, with it pinned down, you pinch in the middle, and then you pull it away from your other hand. Whether that's right or left, depends on which hands you're using. And you want to smooth that down. And then we'll turn the whole thing upside down. So the next few steps are going to be very similar to that, but done slightly differently. First, we're going to have to fold this triangle in to turn it into a square again and get a good crease so that we can open it back up. So now, I find it helps to turn it away from you so that you have this point facing you. You can take the finger on one hand and pin down this middle part right here. And then you're going to want to take your other hand and pinch, just like we did before, right where this crease meets the edge. And you're going to open that up a bit like a pocket, just like before, and you're going to lift it up, and it's going to go over your other finger, and you'll see that it wants to make another square. It's almost like magic. So I'll show you that one more time. You have it like this. You pin it down with one hand, you pinch the top layer with your left, and then they'll go over each other to turn into another square. So now with this square, you'll see that you've almost got flaps that look like pages of a book. What we're going to do now is we're going to find the edge that was folded. So the folded edge, not the open edge. And we're going to tuck it into its own little crease. So this folds over, makes a little loop, and then lines up with the crease in the middle to do that. So it's almost like you're making a paper airplane, but it's folded backwards from there. See how it lines up in the middle. and then it lays flat. And we'll do this on both sides, and what it's going to do is it's going to turn this into a kite shape. It'll be a kite shape superimposed on top of our square. And now for this next step, you're going to use the open ends, and you're going to do the same thing but on these shorter sides. So it folds into itself and then it lays flat. And you'll see that when you do both edges, it turns into a diamond shape. And now our pumpkin is really coming together. And this middle part is where we're going to put our face. So when you're drawing the face on your pumpkin, you can use a Sharpie or a marker or a crayon or a pencil or whatever you like, really. Or you could just leave it a blank pumpkin. I mean, many pumpkins, they're not jack-o'-lanterns. But this one is going to be a jack-o'-lantern. So I'm going to draw a scary face. And when you draw the face, try to stay in the middle here. Don't go too high and don't go too low. So we're going to need to give him angry eyes. And then we will color that in. And now that he has eyes, it's time to give him an angry mouth. So we're going to give that, okay, let's give him some fangs. That'll be pretty cool. So now that he's got fangs and that spooky smile, we can color this in. And if you are using a Sharpie, just remember Sharpies are permanent. And if you're doing it on a white tablecloth or a carpet or somewhere, just make sure you don't get Sharpie on that because it's not going to come out. So now that he's got a face, we got to turn him into the full pumpkin shape. And to do that, we're going to find a top edge here. It's about like there. And we're going to fold it backwards onto itself to make the top edge of our pumpkin. And lay it down flat. And it doesn't have to be perfectly angled because, you know, pumpkins, they're wonky, weird shapes sometimes. And then we'll do that same thing on the bottom. And you want to center the face. And you just smooth it flat. So what the back looks like is this. We've got these two flaps folded back. And then our face on the front. And now, on the back as well, we're going to fold in the side corners just a little bit to give us that curved pumpkin shape. And now you'll see that we have our pumpkin shape. And he wants to stand up too, so this little thing makes a base and he wants to stand up. So now the last thing left to do is to give him a stem. And the stem that's included in the kit looks like this. And the cool thing we're going to do here is we're going to join this stem to this pumpkin without using any glue, without using any staples or tape or anything. This paper is just going to stick right into this paper. So on the back, on the top edge, you'll see that there's a little pocket that we made up at the top. And this strip of paper just goes right into there, and then it stops. So now you want to fold this paper over on this edge. So it folds right over that edge at an angle. And then you pinch the edges. And then we're going to fold over in the middle to give it a curve. And the very last step is to lock this into place. To lock it into place, we're going to fold this triangle in half. Make sure you get some of this brown part in it too. So when you fold that over, it locks it into place. And you want to squeeze this one nice and tight. And once you do, you'll find that you can hold it by the stem and it's not coming out. And that's our pumpkin, who is now done, and we can put him with another pumpkin that we did. These make wonderful little decorations, and they're just loads of fun to make. And that's it. These are our Halloween pumpkins. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll have more crafts coming out at the beginning of the next month. See you then.